Hello, it is Tuesday, the 8th of September, 2020. I hope you've all had a great start to the week and that your weekends were swanky. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a brand new, free virtual instrument from Newfangled Audio, the Pendulate. To get your free copy of the Newfangled Audio Pendulate, simply click on the link in the description below, and that will take you to the Eventide website where you'll find instructions on how to download the plugin. A full breakdown of the production is going to be exclusively available via my Patreon. In this video, we're going to go through the different aspects and parameters of the Pendulate using examples from the production. Let's get into it. First up, let's have a look at the double pendulum section, and let's have a look at the chaos shape. I found that automating this shape was a great way to add some variation to the lead instrument. This is what the lead instrument sounds like without the automation. Here it is again with the automation on the chaos shape. That's great. That is really, really tasty. Let's take a look at the chaos amount next, and we're staying with the in bloom lead instrument for this. The ending of the production wasn't working for me. It just kind of stopped dead. Nothing was happening. I needed something to give it some flavor, some contrast. And again, like we did with the chaos shape, automating the chaos amount gave it that extra flavor. Let's have a listen to the lead instrument at the end of the production without the auto. Let's listen again, but this time with the automation. That for me is almost like a guitar feedback. I love that. Let's take a look at the animate option. I really like this one. This is great for adding movement and a kind of shifting texture. As an example, let's take this virtual instrument, Really Bad Fluorescent, which I'm using in the production, kind of like a riser effect. Let's have a quick listen to it as it is right now. It's pretty cool. It's a little static for my taste. Now let's have a listen again with some automation added to the animate. And you can hear all of a sudden there's much more kind of movement and kind of kinetic energy kind of fizzing up, kind of happening there. Next up, let's have a little look at these sub options. And the way I want to do that is we're going to come back and we're going to have a listen to the in bloom lead instrument, and we're going to listen to how it stacks up against the bass line. you can hear that the lead is just kind of sitting on the bass. So what I did is I just took the sub from 42% down to 38%. And you can hear it's just giving a little bit more room to the bass line. Let's move across to the wave folder and let's have a look at the drive. And to do that, we're going to go back to our old friend, Really Bad Fluorescent. I wanted to add some extra bite to this riser. I really wanted it to kind of grind in and get nasty. So let's have a quick listen to it as it is with no automation on the drive. Let's drop that auto back in and have a listen. I really love the way that the drive affects the sound. It's got this way in which it kind of builds quite steadily, and then as it starts to saturate, it really kind of surges. Let's move over to the low pass gate and let's have a look at a couple of the things that we've got going on in here. When I first uploaded the lead instrument in Bloom that I'm using, it sounded a little bit like this. Sustain. And I had real problems with it kind of overpowering the rest of the production. Let's play it on a loop and let's go through a couple of the things that I did. So the first thing I did is I dialed back the resonance. I then pulled in the sustain and the release. And just adjusted the decay a bit. And that helped you just sit in that mix a little bit more easily. But it still doesn't sound like the lead instrument that we're used to hearing. And the reason for that is the ADSR automation on the drive. At the moment, we're hearing this. But I found by varying the auto setup on the drive, I could make big changes to the tone and timbre of the instrument. I love that. Let's switch our attention to the global part of the virtual instrument. And specifically, we're going to look at stereo width. And we're going to go back to our old buddy, Really Bad Fluorescent. I wanted to be able to automate the width of this effect. And I thought I was going to have to use a third-party plugin to do it. But as I was setting up the auto, I realized that I could do it within the instrument. Let's have a listen to what we've got so far with the Really Bad Fluorescent. Let's drop the auto back in and have a listen to how the stereo image is affected by that automation. That is very, very nice. I love the phase consistency of it. I love the width it gives it, the movement. Staying in the global section, let's have a look at the octave parameter and how that affects the instrument. To demonstrate the octave control, we're going to have a listen to two virtual instruments. We're going to have a listen to this, dynamic rotors, and how it contrasts with our lead instrument. And you'll hear as soon as the lead comes in, it starts to mask and mess up the percussive dynamic rotors effect and vice versa. They're both kind of getting in each other's way. I figured it might be worth trying automating the octave to see if we could help get those dynamic rotors out of the way of that lead synth. And you can hear now, by just lifting it up by an octave, it pushes them out of the frequency range of the lead instrument. Not only that, but I like the idea so much, I took it and ran with it, and I added it to the bass line as well. Let's bring in the bass and have a listen to it with the octave set just at -1. Let's just listen to that little loop we've got going on. Let's drop the auto back in now and see what we can do with that bass line to reflect the changes going on with the lead instrument. Very, very tasty. I love that. I love the way the bass bursts out of the subs and really kind of hits hard. Let's take a look at the LFO section. Let's use the bass as an example. And you can see here that both the chaos amount and the chaos shape are automated by the LFO. And when I opened up the bass line, it was using the tempo to do that. I really didn't like the speed of that pulse. It was too fast, it didn't have enough grind to it, didn't have enough groove to it. It didn't work for me. Luckily, the pendulate allows you to control the LFO by frequency. So I switched it to frequency and then dialed it in to the speed that I wanted the bass to pulse at, while still being able to play it at the tempo that I wanted. Staying with the LFO, let's have a look at our old friend, the really bad fluorescent. When I opened this up, the LFO was set to frequency, and the automation that's controlling the frequency here in the gate was set to a sine wave. It's cool, no doubt, but it just didn't fit the production. So I switched the LFO to tempo, and I switched the frequency control to an up ramp, and set the tempo at 8 bars. Really nice like that. Fits the production perfectly. I really love the flavors that you can create within the double pendulum. The feedback effect created by automating the chaotic amounts really sounded like that kind of tangible, grunty, grindy, nasty, rusty guitar feedback. That is a very special thing to be able to get from a virtual instrument. The change of tone and texture and timbre that you can get from varying the shape fundamentally changes the characteristic of the instrument. And again, it's so tactile, it's so kind of chunky. I love the physicality of it. The animate effect has to be one of my favorites. I love the way that brought so much kind of movement into it and so many kind of shifting textures and layers. The sub control, fantastically useful, just allowed us to sit the instrument so nicely within the production. The way the drive behaves is fantastic. It kind of glides in, kind of thickens in and textures in like treacle. And then at some point it just starts to saturate and it kind of sizzles and soars and kind of surges in this very organic analog kind of way. It's very, very tasty. The low pass gate is very functional. It's a very typical control section to have on a synth. It works very well. It does exactly what you'd expect it to do. The LFO is surprisingly good. It looks a little bit cluttered in that you have all these outputs for this one controller, but in fact, it works very, very well. I like the variation between tempo and frequency. I like the different types of control shape that you can apply. The various modulation controls and cable linkages from the ADSR to the LFO and what have you do feel a little bit jammed in. If there's a part of this instrument that makes you feel like it's a free virtual instrument, it's kind of this bit right here. I can't help but feel there's probably a kind of big daddy version of this, like a polyphonic version of this, where this whole section here is greatly expanded. What we have is something that is very compact. It's actually surprisingly functional. And to its credit, it gives you an awful lot of options in terms of varying texture and tone and adding shifting modulating patterns. The automation options are also extremely good. It is very, very easy to automate this plugin. You just click, open up the menu, open up the automation you want, and you're ready to go. What stands out to me most about using the Newfangled Audio Pendulate is just how analog and dirty and grunty and grindy and textured and tactile and chunky and physical it feels. It has a very modern sound, a very contemporary sound, and yet you can grab this fantastic sort of feedback and these great kind of shifting textures. Everything feels like you could sort of grab hold of it and shake it. Would I like a polyphonic version? Would I like a little bit more space down here? Expanded controls? Yeah, sure, absolutely. But as a monophonic synthesizer, the Pendulate works incredibly well and gives you a very unique set of flavors and textures. And when you consider that it's free, hey, go get it. Thank you for watching. I hope you found that useful. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Until next time, good night and good noise. Stay safe and stay healthy.